There we go.
Okay.
Is that your mission office?
I'm kind of in we have like this little studio that's like set up for like recording and Zoom and all this other stuff I have to do. So I have like a small team that would help me put it together.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this is not my Michigan. I'm actually off today, but I was supposed to have a Zoom call with Finland and South Africa. They
Really?
got their time zones messed up. So yeah. So this is usually where I do a lot of those Zooms.
So this is in the house?
No, this is like a little, it's like a little co-working space.
Oh,
But our friends own it and they're very good with technology. So they kind of set up a whole, like, I don't know if you can see around me, it's all kinds of lights and gadgets and things going on.
got it.
So I just use their space when I need to do interviews and stuff.
What I thought we would just kind of do this time is maybe just talk a little bit about how we met and how our relationship kind of grew and how the opportunity with the show came along. I can just ask you a couple of questions, and then what I'm most excited about is, for me, um, is we're doing some really remarkable things, not just with you, but watching the work that we do get deployed to patients and seeing lives impacted. And it's not that we're saving lives, but we are changing lives. And it's
Mm-hmm.
really not about the Botox and the breast implants and the facelifts. It's really about remarkable change that's impacting their lives. And it seems like that was always something that was important to you, but somewhere along the way, it just seems like this became a super big focus for you. And so I guess really I wanted to just maybe tell everybody how you bumped into me and MRP.
So it started about, Scott, I think maybe 3 years ago when
Mm-hmm.
I set out to open up my practice. And one of the biggest things for me as a dermatologist is serving my patients with whatever gifts or skills that I have. So I decided to open up a practice in Chicago because I felt like there was an underserved population there, usually more like skin of color and just really good, like family, small business kind of run type of medical care. So one of the ways that I found you, Scott, was there's a little group. It's a Derm Facebook group. It's a private group, and I think you had done some business with some prior dermatologists on that group, and they were raving about you, Scott. I mean, if anyone even mentioned buying a laser, it was like call Scott, call Scott. So everyone's like, "Who's the Scott guy?"
Call Sal, right?
Yeah. Like call Scott. And then, people will ask, like, who is this guy? Like, is he reputable? Because there's this myth about when you buy pre-owned lasers that they won't work, or just pre-owned equipment that they will just fail on you and they won't work. And one of the biggest things is when you're starting your practice, you don't have a lot of capital to put towards laser. I mean, you're starting off very small, very tiny. And the prior dermatologist that you had worked with, they said, lasers are the same. The one thing that you have going for your company for MRP is you provide superb customer service, care, technical help, warranty, even better than the companies that you buy brand new for. So I think the biggest thing with your name was the kind of care that you do provide after you sell your equipment. So I email, they put your email out there and said, call Scott. He will respond within 24 hours. And sure enough, the CEO of this company, sure enough, will respond to you within 24 hours. And on top of that, you're also very well versed in all the lasers. I kind of told you the population I was working with, what I wanted to do, and how can I get the best bang for my money while still serving patients. So you made a few recommendations for me, and I trusted you. And it came, I think, within a week or two. Like the equipment came, FaceTime. Your team was there to help set up, and that's kind of how we met, in a nutshell.
I remember some of that. Why? Just it made me think about a couple of things. First is, it's always easy, as you know, um, to have great customer care and great customer experience if you have a great team. And I am so blessed with amazing team members that work incredibly hard and are so dedicated to the mission that we've created. And I know that you feel the same way about your team.
Yes, my team is amazing. I always feel like my team is an extension of me.
Mm-hmm.
They literally say the same thing I would say. They treat patients the way I would treat them. And when I'm not around, they literally get things done the way I would. And I think that's how our relationship grew. You know, you sent Jeannie, who's one of your trainers, with me. And I was like, wow, this woman is phenomenal. I mean, you guys were just so honest. It wasn't about, money. It was more the integrity, the reputation, and being honest about what a laser can actually do. Like, what is this laser going to do? And how can I use this laser to do more than it's set out to do? I think that was the biggest difference. I mean, it was a lot of integrity and honesty, and also just being very open and honest, regardless of if it took a sale away from you or if you probably made less because you're like, you don't need any more machines. This thing can do 5, 6, 7 other things. And I think that was the biggest thing. And I think that's how our relationship grew, because I knew that you weren't just trying to sell. You cared about actually making a difference and actually helping dermatologists, especially ones that are just starting out their business, who don't have a lot of capital to work with.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about. I almost find myself every day. I was actually on Sunday working with a dermatologist that just started out, and one of the major manufacturers sold her 4 devices, all of which were over $100,000 a piece. She hasn't taken them out of the box yet, so she's starting out of the gate with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and that's very difficult to dig out of, if not impossible. And that's probably the single biggest mission that I have going into 22 and 23 is how do we educate emerging clinicians to really stop spending money on this gear? Because as you know, and I think most experienced clinicians know, equipment is not a panacea. It doesn't solve anything. You've actually got to use the equipment, and using it is hard to do. It's hard to get trained. It's hard to find clinical outcomes. Hard to know all the parameters, how to market it, how to price it, what your competitive responses are, and those are super challenging things. And you're right. We do take an approach as slow as fast, and don't spend a lot of money. Something I say a lot. You made me think about one other thing too when you were talking at the beginning, which is why did you I know you came out of a kind of a laser fellowship along with your Mohs fellowship. You had a lot of lasers, energy-based devices. Why are these important? We saw a lot of this on the first couple of episodes where you're using various energy-based devices to get clinical outcome. But why are these important to you? Why does it matter?
The lasers are very important because, dermatology encompasses, it's not just medical, cosmetic, or surgical. There are lots of diseases, and thank God to like the founders of lasers and whoever started doing this, treating patients. There's actually a large group of diseases that the only thing that can treat their problems is using lasers. Like, we had that lady with hypertrichosis, with the increased hair. We had the girl with the port wine stain on the show. I mean, what can I have really done medically, surgically, that was going to treat her? Nothing. The chromophore or the target, it's so deep that there's nothing that we can actually do than to use an energy-based device. So there's a lot of diseases out there that actually affects people's lives and how they see themselves and how they function in society, that the only thing that's really going to help them are energy-based devices.
It's great to hear. We feel the same way, that we're seeing more and more every day as devices come out, ways that they can be used in kind of new and remarkable ways to give care and results. And again, as I said earlier, change lives. I'm curious, since we haven't talked much since the show aired, what's been the single biggest impact over the last month since? What's the single biggest thing? I know we talked once briefly, and you said that you've had a lot of patients that you haven't been able to serve, and that's been somewhat of a not necessarily positive. But what's been the biggest impact?
I think getting patients' emails that we treated on the show, just saying thank you for giving them their lives back. Even just doing that one treatment, and one of our patients, she's lost 22 pounds She's able to get her job now. She's able to go out in society. Another one, like the Port Weinstein girl, she doesn't have to spend an hour and a half putting makeup on. I mean, it's like the little simplest things that we take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these people, it was just a small thing. It's really changing their lives. And one of my biggest, purpose now, I need like 1,000 of me because I can't, I'm only one person. And for some crazy reason, people don't realize that dermatologists do all this stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly referring out patients to dermatologists all over the country. I tell them, my ZO 1064 YAG is great, but other dermatologists have the same exact laser, like the V-beam is great. Like, it's not just a Dr. Mercy thing. You can find a dermatologist that has that same machine that can treat you. So trying to get patients to switch over that this is not just a Dr. Mercy thing, this is a dermatology thing.
That's an important thing really to touch on is the differentiation between people in skincare and board certified dermatologists. So when you're speaking about the colleagues you're referring out to really being one and the same and having the same skills, is that the board certification that really separates you as a class from everyone else?
Oh, of course. So everyone that I refer to is a board certified dermatologist. They have that FAAD, after their MD. So they're trained on the medical treatment of the disease. They're trained on how to use energy-based devices, how to treat complications. The one thing that I've even learned from you and working with your team, sometimes you have to make different changes in your settings. The manufacturer comes up with the settings, but how do you think past those settings and treat what's in front of you? And I think that's one thing that you and your team are very good at. And it's kind of hard to do that if you don't have advanced training. It's very difficult. Mm-hmm. So everyone that I refer to all over the country is usually a board certified dermatologist.
And just briefly, and I know this, but I think it'd be helpful for others that are going to watch this. I know it's an intense process, not only to become board certified, but also to maintain that level of accreditation. It's pretty significant, isn't it?
Yeah, so you go through your 4 years of medical school, then you go through your residency, which for some dermatologists could be 4-5 years, if you do a fellowship like I did. And then you have to pass your board exam, which is pretty intense. And even after that, you have to still, do questions, stay on top of everything, take little small quizzes, get your CME, go to conferences. So it's a lifelong learning type of process. It's not a one and done type of thing.
What can you tell us about upcoming seasons and future shows and things you're looking to do, not only on TV, but also within your practice? Any changes going on?
We haven't heard about season 2. They said maybe in a month or two, but they sent me a contract that I'm not signing until they tell me I'm going to have season 2. I'm like, why are you guys sending me this if you can't tell me that? Most likely there'll be a season 2, but they kind of take their time. Mm-hmm. In my practice, I think just getting patients more comfortable with energy-based devices for medical indications. I think there's this taboo out there that this is only to look pretty. This is only for anti-aging and cosmetic purposes. But it's a whole lot more than that. I mean, we can use it to treat, pre-cancer stuff. We can use it to treat sun damage. I mean, there's so much other stuff we can treat. And another thing that I would like to do is actually, I realize that I can help build a lot of dermatologists' practices for them. Like the kind of platform that I've been given, I'm only one person. It's only so many patients I can see. And I've been lucky. I've been fortunate that patients just kind of flock to me, but it's not so easy for some dermatologists that are building their practices right out of residency. So anything that I can do to give dermatology a better name, refer patients out and help other people grow their practices, and also get more comfortable using energy-based devices for medical indications.
Yeah, I think as I look at our collaboration, in the upcoming years, the things that I'm most excited about that I'm looking to do together, and I'll just highlight something that we're doing. We're working with a group out of New York, and we'll be talking to them soon on a recorded call. We're just waiting for some green lights with their PR team, but they're a government facility, and they treat a lot of pediatric post-cancer patients. Oh, wow. And we've put a number of energy-based devices in there, And the change to these children is remarkable because the scarring, as you know, is pretty significant. And in many cases, it's on their face or it's on very visible areas. And be able to make those revisions for a young child is really amazing. And so as I look at our collaboration over the upcoming years, I look how we can really elevate dermatology and core physicians as a group, and really share how they're impacting lives beyond the stuff we currently see on TV. That's really about the aesthetic side, and this is about the life-changing side. And we're excited, as season 2 gets a green light to start bringing in some of that cutting-edge technology that we can work with you on and really show the world what's available at a relatively low cost to patients to change their lives. So I'm looking forward to that as much as anything.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited because I think that there's something about lasers that people think just goes along with cosmetics. I don't even know where that even, like, how that happened. When did that shift happen? But there's so much that we can treat that's so life-changing, especially for these kids. I mean, they can actually go to school without being bullied. They can grow up not having a complex. Like, it makes a big difference in how a person grows up in their self-esteem. And I mean, it's great that you're doing that.
Yes, no question. We feel the same way. Well, I always appreciate catching up and getting time. And this is our first official video chat. And I noticed the blue, you've got your blue, what do you call it?
Oh, this is my non-filming scrubs.
It's the blue color.
Yeah.
That we've come to know so well. And I've got my almost always MRP t-shirt on, which is a big step for me. And
I see that.
I'm still a little red from my face getting ablated a week ago.
Scott, what are you like? Did you send me that video? I'm like, what is you? You are nuts. Do you ever leave your face alone?
I really don't do that much, but you're constantly around this, and somebody will say we need a patient, and I gotta be honest. I really didn't know that Thea was going to crank it up to 60% ablation at 25 watts. Literally at dinner,
that's high.
It was high, and literally at dinner, my face was like dripping into the plate. So I probably won't come to that again. But
and she came down to your neck, I saw too.
Yeah, right, all the way down to my neck. But
how did the neck heal compared to the face?
The neck. In doing it again, I probably would have had her go up on the wattage if I were doing the neck, just because there still is a little bit of creping there, even though I don't have much for my age. In the forehead, I probably would have gone a little harder there. But I got to tell you, ablative CO2 is still, if you can take the downtime, which the worst part of the downtime wasn't really the heat or the ablation or the pain during the treatment. It was the physical I was so lethargic 2 days later. So I had the treatment on Thursday evening, and then Saturday and Sunday, just my body as it was healing was just wiped out.
Probably because all the energy, all your healing, all your energy was focused towards kind of get that skin healed up.
Yeah. So I think those are really good, good things to do. Is in my position is to be able to speak to these things with clinicians, getting the treatment, even though it wasn't the objective. It does allow me, when I'm speaking of 6 to 7 days of downtime in an ablative treatment, I actually can speak specifically to it. So there are some benefits beyond the aesthetic side getting it done.
Scott, you're just going to be forever young.
Hey, I'm constantly on that objective of becoming Benjamin Button. That's my.
Well, you're on the right track, and you're surrounded by all the devices, all the dermatologists that can keep you going.
How's Tony and Lilly? Everybody good?
Yes, everyone's good. Everyone's good.
Well, good. I appreciate the time. You get back to your life. I know we've got some things to catch up on the next couple of days. I know Thea's coming out this weekend and to work on a few more things, and we're excited about that.
All right. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate you as always. Thank you.
Tell Tony hi. Bye-bye.
I will. Bye.